Those are expensive cars. They've got the range. They've got some leg up on this thing in some ways, but man, this is better. Welcome back. I'm Tedward, and today, thanks to Bond Group in Waltham, Massachusetts, we get the pleasure of driving this beautiful 2022 Porsche Taycan for Cross Turismo. Bit of a mouthful. Cross Turismo is Porsche speak for station wagon, estate, touring, and I think, even amongst 911s, that this is the best looking car Porsche makes today. I am thrilled that this exists. Now, if you're not in the know and you've been living under a rock for a long time, the Taycan is an electric vehicle. No engine here, but we do have four-wheel or all-wheel drive, I should say. We've got a front motor and a rear motor that allows us to spin all four wheels, and at the rear there's actually a two-speed transmission, so there's a low and a high. That allows this to get off the line very quickly and then tune itself to basically be a mile muncher on the Autobahn. The Cross Turismo, this one has the sort of like more off-roady package, and it even has a gravel mode. But up here, you can see there's plenty of sidewall to absorb some of the nastiness of New England weather. So this is a proper all-season, all-weather vehicle. Up front, we've got a 245/45/20, and in the rear, a 285 section tire to really put down some of that torque. It has 469 horsepower. You can get more if you go for the Turbo or Turbo S, which is very frustrating because there's no turbo. It's really silly that the turbo moniker even gets any credence on an electric vehicle, but here we are. I mean, not to mention the fact that 911s are all turbos right now other than the GT3, so it's a little silly that we call a 911 turbo a 911 turbo because a Carrera is in fact a 911 turbo today. Okay, enough of my complaining. One of the nice conveniences of the Taycan is that you can charge it on both sides. There's a charge port in the front on both sides. Now, I really like that because I have seen some pretty ugly stuff at charging stations for people to weasel their way in, because sometimes you got to get in on the wrong side and maybe you got to bring it all the way to the back or all the way to the front, depending on your situation. It can be a real bear, and it makes charging, which is already a nightmare of an experience, more nightmarish. And sometimes you're fighting for a spot if you're in a hot area with lots of EVs. So that at least gives you the opportunity to get in, get out, and you don't have to worry about which side. You just pull straight in and do the thing. In the rear, this is probably my favorite feature of the Cross Turismo, this gorgeous hatch and plenty of space. You can load this up like an SUV. You do not need to get the Macan, the Cayenne. You can live happily in an estate, a proper car. Now, I'm starting to enjoy SUVs more and more, but more like in the truck sector. I just don't see the point of having an SUV that's going to have skinny sidewall tires. Just buy a car, and this gives you that opportunity. In the rear, oh yes, let's take a look back here. It's very cold outside, so I'm kind of excited to get back in this car, which is quite warm. Loads of legroom, pretty supportive seats here. You can see there's side bolstering here, even on the bottom. So despite the fact that these aren't like captain's chairs and it is a bench, and I guess you could put someone in the center. What a nightmare of a center seat, but hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Very nice for the sport handling that you may be encountering in a Porsche, because if you're buying this, you probably like to take on and off ramps like a psycho, and that's good. We like that. Up here you got a little armrest with some cup holders, nothing that fancy but sturdy enough, and HVAC in the rear. No controls, just the ability to blow some air. I don't have rear heated seats, which probably helps the range. We'll talk about that shortly. But up top, look at this gorgeous panoramic roof. No sunroof, but clear. So plenty of light coming into this cabin. Makes you feel pretty special. Now you might be thinking, well, it's a Porsche, it's got to have a frunk. And you'd be right. However, the frunk is not very impressive. Let's see, there it is. Let's take a look up there. Now, unlike a 911 or a Cayman where you get this big cavernous frunk, this is a little tricky. I mean, yeah, it's deep, but you can't get luggage in there. And the reality is you're using this for your bag of goodies, because charging is a sad reality of electric car ownership. And sometimes you don't just pull up to your station and plug in the side. Maybe you need to plug into an AC outlet, like at a house, at an Airbnb, and let it charge for a couple of days, that whole thing. Yes, I know, a big pain in the butt, but you're going to have to keep that with you, because if you don't have it with you and you need it, you're going to be stranded. So as you can see, I got in the car, it's basically started itself, it's doing its thing. You can use this power button, very nice. This one has almost 12,000 miles on it. We've got these nice little gray seat belts, and let's go take this thing for a ride. In order to put it in drive, you've got the Braun Razor, the electric shaver shifter that you'd find normally upright in a 911, but over here, it's up here. So it's really easy to get into a Taycan and say, like, how the heck do I put it in drive? Foot on the brake, into drive. There you go. You can pull away in some quiet luxury, but it's sporty despite being a little heavy. I've driven these on track, or let's say the handling course at PEC LA. They don't call it a track. It is not a track. It's a handling course. And the seating position in this is sublime. I have the top of the wheel, coming close to my eye level. I can get really low in this seat, and it's the perfect size steering wheel. It gives me reasonable feedback. There are some real charming things to be said about the Taycan. The brakes are not one of them. It has regenerative braking. Porsche did not quite hit the mark when it came to regen into pads. So when I get into the brakes, it takes a kind of an awkward amount of force to get the regen to give me what I want. And Porsche does not do one pedal driving. So when I'm driving like this, I lift off. No siree, it's not slowing down, it's coasting, and it's almost maintaining my speed. I have to use those brakes. I have to tell the car that I want regen, because that's just the way Porsche is. Now, the rest of the world has at least given the option. They have not. And now it thinks I'm talking to it, so we're not going to let it do that. Frustrating technology. We'll get into all that in a minute. But first, let's just get it into Sport Plus. It's going to lower us. It's going to do more cool sounds, and we're going to get this thing off the line, and no one's going to be the wiser because it's pretty quiet. So there's a car behind us, but we can do this really quick. Over the bump, it takes everything. That's the coolest thing about this, is that it is a proper all-weather, all-season thing. You can use this anytime, anywhere, but you're of course going to be range limited. When I got in this at a full charge, it said 230 miles, and that went down quickly because I've got my HVAC system on, providing me some heat. So unfortunately, Porsche is not at the top of the game when it comes to range in electric vehicles, and that's a real bummer. Because while 230 miles is certainly enough, it'll get you around and you probably won't have any problems. I typically don't even let my gas cars go to the 50-mile range mark when I'm running it down. So I'm going to put fuel in it. Now, I don't like being on the edge, and some people are really good at driving and getting their cars down to 10 miles and saying, wow, electric cars are great. I still have that range anxiety. It does stress me out. It's just who I am, and I know I'm not alone in that. So while some of you are like, oh, that's plenty, some of you, like me, are saying that is not enough. We need to get to that sort of 350 to 400 mile mark for me to feel really good about it. It's a very quick vehicle. Now, the best thing about a Taycan is that it drives like a Porsche, and that kind of should go without saying, but it didn't have to. This could be a mess. This could be some like beta testing thing where they're really just trying to get some EV out the door, and it doesn't feel like that. Other than the range, this is a great electric vehicle. I have some qualms, and this is more auto industry as a whole, but like everything's a touchpad, everything's an iPad. It's annoying. I want a button. I can change my volume for my radio and stuff on the wheel, but like just give me like normal controls. Don't make me don't make me do this whole rigmarole with a 3-screen setup. It's so silly, and I don't want it. And I really hope that there's a future in which real physical controls can be combined with electric cars. But I understand that like the Taycan coming out has to be a showcase of the future, and it looks futuristic. It's a handsome car. It makes sense. I don't question that, but I do genuinely hope that market research and market demand allows these cars to become more normal to people like me who want physical switches and things. Now, the thing I don't like about it, I really wish this had one pedal driving, at least to some extent, where it is a bit frustrating to lift off that throttle and continue going. Like, if you see a cop and you're just kind of cruising, you're like, ooh, we got to bleed off a couple miles an hour. I don't want to hit the brakes. No, you got to hit the brakes. That's the deal. So you have to adjust yourself a little bit to the way this drives. Big rock. We don't want to touch that, but we do have reasonable sidewall. It's quiet, it's refined, it doesn't feel like that tinny Tesla. I mean, those are expensive cars. They've got the range, they've got some leg up on this thing in some ways, but man, this is better. So what can we take away from the Taycan? First of all, the Cross Turismo is just so incredibly beautiful. I want more cars to look like this because it is what I feel like should be the future of design. I'm seeing a lot of like wacky, weird stuff and maybe not beautiful things. And this to me is beauty. This is like futuristic beauty. This is something that I can take in and I can really like look, every time I see the car, I want to look back at it again. I think the driving dynamics of the Taycan, this is the benchmark to me in terms of like good electric cars for a four-door, for a sedan, for a wagon. And the build quality of these are pretty impressive because what you're getting out of this is a proper Porsche. You're not getting a stack of batteries with an iPad in the middle and saying like, look, you're going to pay a bunch of money for all these batteries and this kind of like ludicrous straight line performance, but then the rest of the car just kind of feels like it's falling apart all the time. Like, that's how I feel about Teslas. They just don't feel like they're built well. You get in a Model 3, you get in a Model S, and you're just consistently making excuses for the car. That's very frustrating to me. And the Taycan, you don't make excuses for the car. The car is a good car. Now, I don't love all the haptic touchy things and blah, 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 but it works. It does, and you get used to it, I suppose. I think there's some complications in the Taycan that, I haven't seen any failures. I haven't seen anyone have like major issues, but like the fact that it has a 2-speed transmission is bizarre for an electric car. That's not common. That's not what we've been used to seeing. And I don't know where that goes in the future. I just know that if I were looking for an EV and this range was good enough for what I needed, I wouldn't hesitate, because this one sits at $116,000 MSRP. It's not the most kitted out thing. It's not a turbo or Turbo S, but she's plenty fast. It's got all the storage. It's a beautiful car. And if I were living with it day to day, that range is good enough for me. If I'm going to do a lot of traveling and I got to go between, if I'm a rich man with my Porsche collection, I got to go between houses. I don't know that I necessarily have enough range to do that unless, you're strategically located with a charger in the middle. But hey, man, that is the deal. So overall, really impressed with the handling, the driving dynamics. I think it's a lovely thing to live with. I think it's quiet, it's refined, and it just operates in a way that brings you into the electric vehicle world without just bashing the future across your face. I have a steering wheel. Can you believe that I have to be prideful and happy that I get a wheel instead of a yoke? Some things are just better as they are. This is one of them. So huge thanks to Bond Group for tossing the key fob to this Taycan 4 Cross Turismo. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing, and showing interest and respect for cars of all walks. I mean, dude, we're driving DB4 Series 5, Porsche Speedsters, electric cars, normal trucks. I mean, everything. And I love that. I love that this audience, that you guys are so into a variety. And doesn't mean you love everything. It doesn't mean you like everything. It doesn't mean you even care to see half of it if it's not up your alley. But the fact that you're coming to check it out and see what it is just because driving enthusiasm is what piques your interest, that to me is why I do what I do. So whether it's an EV or a 12-cylinder Ferrari, let's get it. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.